Craig's now wandered over to my lounge, the Jay Onrait lounge. So I can wander over and hang out with Craig. We're a little draft talk because we know San Jose's got the top pick. How are you?
I'd like to greet you, Mike.
I'm going to give you a hug. How are you?
We can't just sit here and let me wait for you here.
This is awesome. Nobody gives me hugs
That's
except
a nice
for Craig.
suit.
Thanks. It's brand new.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, the first time I wore it.
It's really sharp.
Because I knew you were coming onto the
like
show.
The tie.
And Carrie, our director, and I were just talking about how you're the most fashionable guy at the network. So I said, I better wear a new suit to try to impress Craig. And it seems like I've pulled it off.
You've done it. You've done the impression part.
Well, that's the show, everybody. See you later. I'm just kidding. Hey, Macklin Celebrini. So we're going to presume he's going first overall to San Jose. We're going to make that assumption. We're going to make that leap.
Okay, safe. You're safe,
I'm safe
to do
there?
that. Yeah, you're safe.
Do you expect, Will Smith was drafted by the Sharks last year. He goes to college. Could Celebrini just go back to college? And do you think that might be the best thing for him at this point with San Jose in their stage of development?
Well, no, he can go back to college. Will Smith can go back to college.
Right.
And I think those are discussions that management and players have. I mean, Macklin played in BU this year, 17 years old. He was the best player in college hockey. So if you ask me, is he ready to go to the NHL? I would say yes, he's ready to go to the NHL. Can he have success going to the NHL? I'd say yes, he can have success. But you just point out something that I think is really important. Where's the team at?
Yeah.
And, I never believe that when you're going to have a team that isn't very good, and you don't want young players in that environment get 47 points and not have any success as a team. And, Connor Bedard goes to the Chicago Blackhawks. Individually, he had a lot of success, but team-wise, they didn't.
No.
And so I think it's just a discussion. What would be best for Macklin? I'm not so sure that after you've dominated college hockey, going back to college hockey is your best bet. And that goes for Will Smith as well. That both those young players could go right into the lineup next year. But I still think the San Jose Sharks are a few years away from being competitive again.
Let's talk about we got Chicago at 2.
Yeah.
We got Anaheim at 3. Are there players that you feel are locked in to those 2 and 3 spots? Those players you have in your mock draft, do you expect that they're locked into those spots the way Fantilli and Carlson were locked into 2-3 last year?
Well, you say Fantilli. Fantilli went through.
Right.
Everybody thought Fantilli was going 2.
No, but you knew they were going to go 2 and 3 probably,
Yeah,
right?
okay, yeah, fair enough. There's so many good defensemen here, right, like in this draft. And I think that, Z Bulliam, who I think is outstanding, wouldn't surprise me if he was the first defenseman picked. Wouldn't surprise me if Carter Yakimchuk is one of the first 3 defensemen picked, and he's not even in the top 10. So of the mock drafts, there's so many good players. I think that when you look at what a team is trying to assess what they would like to get from the draft, what type of player they'd want to get, it opens up the realm of possibility. And whether it be on the defensive side of things, whether it be on the offensive side of things. So I think when the draft unfolds, there'll be I think we're pretty sure of where 9, 10, 11 of the top players are going to go in the top 9. We're not just sure of the exact placement.
Which makes it potentially a fun draft.
Yeah, it does.
And what also makes it fun is that a very familiar name is rising fast, certainly in your rankings. Tij Iginla was 22 in your original Craigslist back in November. Now he's all the way up to 6. Just an incredible season in Kelowna. What did you see from him that has made him rise so much in your eyes?
Well, what you're watching for with players so much of the time is like how they're progressing, how they're handling new challenges. And certainly Tij is a player you start to watch and go, geez, he's got these elements. And then he takes them and he pushes those elements to a higher level. And so much of the time you're watching players just gain confidence in their game and then take their game to those levels where you go, wow, that's of a higher quality, that's of a higher standard. I joke about Jerome Iginla, and I don't joke about it, but when we drafted him in Dallas in 1995, we projected him to be a 30, 35 goal scorer, power forward, and we were wrong. He was way better than that, right?
Yeah.
And so I keep thinking to myself with Tij, am I underestimating him? Him. Not that we underestimated Jerome, but he was so much better than what we thought. We thought he'd be a really good player. I feel the same way about Tij, and I think over time you're just watching these things unfold, and certainly. Wouldn't surprise me if he goes in the top 3. I'll be honest with you.
That would be amazing. Well, let's take a look at that mock draft once again as we talk about the 3 Canadian teams that will be drafting in the top 9, Craig. You've got Montreal at 5. You've got Ottawa at 7, if they choose to hold on to that pick, which I think they probably will. And then you've got Calgary at 9, and you think with Tij there potentially, like, wouldn't it be something if Craig Conroy just went all in and tried to move up to get Tij, or maybe he'll be there for him at 9? Like, that would just be incredible.
I don't mean to rain on anybody's parade, but you have to assume now that the Calgary Flames think that Tij is better than other players they may be considering.
Fair enough.
It is.
I'm fanboying a little bit on the Flames fans' behalf.
There's no problem about fanboying, right? There's a lot of good players in this draft, Tij amongst them, right? So, you know, you got maneuvering. You got to try to think about what other teams may be looking at. You're thinking like, okay, we really think that Tij is the guy we want. Understanding that other teams like Tij too.
Yeah.
I don't think, like, at 9, like, good luck. Tij Iginla is not going to be there at 9 in my view.
What about Montreal at 5? Do you like the player that you've got there for them as far as
No, I don't like him at all. I just put him there because I thought it'd be nice. You know, I love Caden Lidstrom. Listen, we talk about Caden Lidstrom. I think he might have as much upside as any player in this draft.
Wow.
He's big, he's strong, he's competitive. He had some injury challenges with a hand and a herniated disc this year, so he had some gaps. But when you watch him play and you watch how strong he plays, how assertive he is, how determined he is. Oh, yeah, and he's got some pretty good skills, too. Those types of players don't come along that want to make a real material impact in the game in so many different areas. And you think about Nick Suzuki playing in that #1 center hole, a big center coming behind him like Caden Lidstrom. Remember, when I do my mock draft, like, I'm not doing it based on what other people may think. I'm not doing it on what I may think. I'm doing it as if I'm the GM and I'm the director of scouting and who I think would be a good fit. And that doesn't mean he's the only good fit. Just means that I think Caden Lidstrom would be fantastic.
So pretend you're our old buddy Dave Poulin now, and you're going through the motions and the process at #7 for Ottawa. Why did you like the player at #7?
Sam Dickinson?
Yeah.
Because they need help on the blue line.
Right.
Simply put, they have lots of really good forwards. They have a ton of good forwards. They don't have really good impact defensemen. I mean, Jake Sanderson's really good. Thomas Chabot, obviously a little bit older, although not that old.
Nope.
But Sam Dickinson is a 25-minute-a-game player, skate, compete, power play, penalty. He won't be a huge offensive guy. I think he's like Aaron Ekblad. And I want players like, but
that'd be great.
The Ottawa Senators, they need help on the back end. They need help on the blue line. They need players that can make an impact on the blue line.
And then one more time, let's bring that mock draft board back up at #9, Calgary. Assuming my dreams of Tij Iginla don't come to fruition, and then your mock draft is correct, why do you like Helenius at #9?
To me, he's an elite center. He played in the Finnish Elite League as a 17-year-old. He wasn't just a good 17-year-old. He was one of the best. Like, he was a really good player in that league. He's playing with Finland's national team in the World Championships. He can do it all. He can play on the power play. He's a playmaker. He can score goals. He's slick. He's got so many different elements. He might be Braden Point-like.
Oh,
and that type of a center, they got a lot of good defensemen. They got a bunch of different defensemen.
And they traded for a bunch in the right this past year.
I think that kind of pushes them a little bit to more to a forward type of thing. And that's where my thinking takes me. So you say as a fanboy, you know, like, you know, Tij Iginla, you really did like the Edmonton Oilers growing up. So in 1995, who did you want them to draft at 6?
Oh, I wanted Shane Doan over Steve Kelly.
Oh, there you go. Okay,
but that's the whole franchise.
I know, but she didn't want Jerome. For the record, he didn't want Jerome. But he wants Tij.
Oh, man. First round of the draft, June 28th. It's the last before we decentralize the draft. It's at the Sphere. What do you think?
I think it's going to be like the NFL draft.
Yeah.
It's just the NHL, the teams won't be there. They'll have their operations out of their own building. But it'll be like the NFL draft. You'll have all kinds of activity in a city, and players will go there, and it'll be a whole lot of fun. But just the teams won't be there.
Right, but this year they will.
Yeah, this is the last year for that,
Yeah, it'll be fun, the Sphere, right after Fish. So, you know, bring your edibles or whatever.